Exactly right. Exactly right.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask Deputy Manager Bernacki for a roll call, please.
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian.
Here.
Trustee Chen.
Here.
Trustee Fink.
Here.
Trustee Lewis.
Here.
Trustee Naraki.
Here.
And Trustee Tiro.
Here.
All present?
Thank you very much. Welcome to the November 11th, 2024 Board of Local Improvements meeting. To honor our nation's heroes and especially to honor the individuals who serve and protect our community and to recognize our veterans, please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, the Board of Trustees oversees the Board of Local Improvements, known as BOLI. The Board of Local Improvements is tasked with overseeing public improvements at the Timber Trails development. This evening, the Board of Local Improvements will be approving minutes of the last BOLI meeting and a disbursement request number 90. The first item to review are the meeting minutes of July 11th, 2022. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I will make that motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you much. Is there a second?
I will second the motion.
All right, thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian.
Aye.
Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Naraki.
Aye.
Trustee Tiro.
Aye.
And President Rudolph.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. The second item on our agenda is to approve disbursement request number 90 in the amount of $170,000, $170,111.81. And I'd like to ask Director Mastendonis to tell us a little bit about this.
Yes, thank you, President Rudolph. This disbursement request is due to costs of the development. Previously, these have been drawn down from the security of the developer. This specific request will be invoiced to the developer. These were paid by the village and per the annexation agreement are reimbursable to us. The total here ranges from invoices paid from April 2022 to August 2024. And the reason we're invoicing the developer now versus drawing down from a security is the project is starting to kind of come to its final stages. So as we kind of true up of how much security they have left and how much will be paid out for invoices coming in, we felt that it would be easier to just invoice the amount. We'll probably have these a little bit more regular, probably about once a quarter now going forward here until the project is finalized.
Thanks very much. Any questions or discussion? Okay, very good. Then is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I will make a motion to approve disbursement request number 90 in the amount of $170,111.81. The amount will be invoiced to the Timber Trails developer to reimburse the Village of Western Springs.
Thank you, Trustee Chen. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, very good. May we have a roll call, please, Deputy Manager Bernacki?
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian.
Aye.
Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Naraki.
Aye.
And Trustee Tiro.
Aye.
And President Rudolph.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Now I will accept a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Local Improvements.
That'd be my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. The BOLI meeting is adjourned at 7:03 p.m. All right, now I'd like to call to order the Village Board of Trustees Combined Workshop and Special Meeting. Deputy Manager Bernacki, can you confirm that all trustees and the village president are still in attendance?
Yes, President Rudolph, I can confirm that all trustees and the village president are still in attendance.
Thank you very much. So next we have citizen comments. Is there anyone in attendance wishing to address the village board? See no one here tonight. All right, so we will move on then in our agenda. The first item are two reappointments, and these will be included on the omnibus tonight. The first is the reappointment of Jeff Fuss to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a 3-year term to expire on November 11th, 2027. And then second is the reappointment of Renee Cozy to the Economic Development Committee for a 3-year term to expire also on November 11th, 2027. And again, those will both be on the omnibus. Moving on then to our committees, can we begin with the General Government Committee report?
Thanks, Madam President. I have one issue to bring to the board's attention, and that's our 2025 budget, which we went over thoroughly last week. The first item that we discussed was the Board of Trustees operating budget, and included in next year are our WISBA contributions of $10,000. And were we going to raise that? I didn't have it in my notes. Were we thinking about raising that?
I think we are thinking
Okay.
of raising that, yes.
Okay, thank you, good. We were thinking of raising that, so thank you. Also, our contributions to the Western Springs Theater and the Historical Society for $1,000 apiece, and Green Team Events for $500. Staff is asking for an additional $2,500 for infrastructure education, such as the Economic Development Committee and the Village Board Workshop. Some of us attended last week, and that was very enlightening, very interesting, and very productive. There's also IML conference training funds that we'll have on our budget for next year. So that's the Board of Trustees budget. There were 6 items discussed in the village manager's budget, the first being biometric health screenings, which provide baseline assessments for our employees to assist them with early detection of health concerns. This will help the village insurance plans, but of much greater importance, will provide treatments and early detection for our employees. The second item is IRMA, which is the municipal insurance pool to which we belong. In this budget, for our contribution and the deductible, it will increase from $180,000 to $317,000. The higher budget of 2025, the $317,000, is close to really normal, and it's calculated on a 5-year average of our annual revenues and experience rating based on claims. There's a slight increase. The difference between the $180,000 and the $317,000 that we're seeking for 2025 is due to our ability last year to utilize a year-end credit from the year 2023. So the $317,000 is more close to the normal that we normally budget for IRMA. The next item we discussed was a door access system, which will allow, is it phones and key cards? I was trying to pay attention. Phones?
The key cards,
Oh, key cards.
will be used, yes.
Okay. Key card access for our village staff to the critical doorways in all municipal buildings, improving security at the buildings and convenience for our employees. The security will be improved. Our buildings with, I think we have one building at least with a preschool, village hall, public works, and water plant. We now have to get access to those buildings with the key card. The cost for this access system is $150,000, but it'll be fully funded by a grant requested by Senator Susie Glowiak Hilton, which we are expecting to receive, and the completion of the door access system will be next year. Also in the village manager's budget was a $5,000 increase for Tower Topics infrastructure education, and similarly, $4,000 for infrastructure educational video. We've seen an example of those videos, and I find them extremely instructive, easy to follow, and very helpful for staff and, more importantly, for the citizens of Western Springs. For our insurance plan for our employees, we discussed a 10% increase in the cost of the coverage, but according to the Horton Group, that's our insurance broker, will probably be a percentage to a percentage and a half or two less, depending on how they broker that. The dental rates, on the other hand, will remain the same for next year. Finally, in our budget, we discussed the pay plan update and wage increase, including movement in the annual salary range higher, merit adjustments with greater proportion to the general adjustment that the employees will receive, market adjustments depending on our need to fill a position, and reclassification in case we need to move staff around into different pay grades. That will be done next year. And finally, a review of the positions every 3 years for market comparisons. We'll be doing that as well. Manager Bear, were there any specific numbers that you'd like to put out?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Typically, what we do is we know we have the labor agreements that are in place with the union-covered employees, and then we budget a certain amount in the budget. We kind of wait to see how revenues come in the first few months of the year, and those increases for non-union staff typically happen around June 1. So, we'll place enough money in the budget to do that, and then we can adjust based on how things come.
Thank you, Manager Bear. Then that would conclude our discussions on the 2025 budget and would also conclude my report.
Great, thank you very much. All right, let's move to the Finance Committee report. Trustee Chen?
Thank you, Madam President. The Finance Committee met last Monday, and we reviewed the proposed 2024 property tax levy. We viewed it favorably and are recommending it to the full board, but I'm going to pass it over to Director Macedona to give a further explanation
Yes.
of what we'll have on the omnibus.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Chen.
Yes.
So tonight for your consideration is an ordinance that is the estimated 2024 property tax levy by state statute. This is just the process it goes through. On December 2nd, 2024 will be our tax levy hearing, which will take place starting at 7 o'clock right before our budget hearing, and then go right into the meeting. Not much has changed since the last time we spoke about this at the October 14th meeting, slight decrease. In total, the proposed 2024 levy is $8,867,538 for the village. That is a 1.46% increase compared to the 2023 property tax levy. The levy is split up into two parts. The cap portion, that limits the amount we could increase it by CPI and new growth. That component is $7,169,046. That's a 5.15% increase. That's assuming 1.59% for new growth and the 3.4% of CPI. The new growth component, if that is overestimated, the county will just lower that amount off the top. So this is the maximum that it could be. And then the non-cap portion was a total amount of $1,698,492. That's a decrease of 11.63% or $223,000 approximately compared to 2023. That is due to the debt service of the Series 2009 bonds being concluded. Are there any questions?
No? If
Okay.
there's no questions, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving on to the Planning and Zoning Committee report. Trustee Naraki.
Thanks, President Rudolph. I have two items on for my report tonight. The first item being the Timber Trail subdivision 5904 Juniper Court, Lot 95, plat of public sidewalk easement filed by Timber Trails Building Company Incorporated, and it's on the omnibus for approval tonight. On March 21st, 2005, the village board annexed the property known as the Timber Trails Country Club into the village. A conditional use permit for a planned development and annexation agreement were also approved for the construction of a 338-unit mixed-use, single-family residential development with a variety of amenities. One such amenity is a pedestrian circulation system. The pedestrian circulation system is comprised of a system of sidewalks generally behind and within the yards of the single-family lots. Some of the sidewalks are located within easements on private properties. One such sidewalk section is located within the lot addressed 5904 Juniper Court, also known as Lot 95. The sidewalk was to be constructed partially on Lot 95 and partially on neighboring lots. The sidewalk was wholly constructed on Lot 95. As such, Timber Trails Building is asking to modify the easement area to contain the full sidewalk area. The Planning and Zoning Committee reviewed the request and recommended approval of the easement. This item, as I mentioned, is on the omnibus portion of the meeting for consideration. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, then I'll move on to my next item, which is the 2025 budget for Planning and Zoning. At our committee meeting, staff presented the proposed Community Development Department budget for 2025. The majority of the department budget is comparable to the current fiscal year. There are a few projects proposed for 2025. One is an update to the village's comprehensive plan. The current comprehensive plan is over 20 years old. The review and potential update of the use lists for the commercial districts could allow for more modern uses. Another update is to the transitioning of the code violation process to a local adjudication system rather than interacting with the Cook County circuit system. We are looking to continue the property improvement grant program. A $70,000 budget was proposed, which is for this coming year, which is the same as the last year. And the Planning and Zoning Committee reviewed the budget and is recommending approval of the proposed budget. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, that concludes my report for tonight, President.
Okay, thanks very much. All right, Public Works and Water Committee report, Trustee Fink.
Thank you. So the first item is the water main and service line repair report and invoices. This past year, there's been 55 water main breaks. Most have been repaired in-house through the Public Works Department, but in October, there were 3 breaks that needed outside contractors to assist with repair. So Public Works was recommending approving the following invoices: Calumet City Plumbing for $8,464.60 for the October 6th break. Calumet City Plumbing again for $8,433 for October 21st. And finally, Payless Plumbing for $7,500 for October 22nd. So you can tell all of these breaks are just from our aging infrastructure. It's not going to get cheaper, so I think ultimately we'll have to address our kind of aging infrastructure with this.
So, and we're using the outside contractors just because of the difficulty of these breaks?
The difficulty, and they're just because there's been so many of
So
them,
many of them.
and back to back.
That's right.
Is that Director
Elaborate
Super?
a little bit on the particular breaks related with the Calumet City. There was one weekend where we had, I think, 6 water main breaks over 4 days. And it was just too much for our crews to handle in terms of like a scheduling and just exhaustion level and a safety level. So those we had to bring in an outside contractor just because our crew couldn't handle the constant breaks that came in. The one with Payless Plumbing specifically is one of the water main breaks resulted in a damage to a lead service line for a resident's home. With the new IPA rules, that service line cannot be repaired. It has to be fully replaced. So we don't have a licensed plumber on staff. We have to call an outside plumbing firm to do that new line because a licensed plumber has to install a service line. So that was the scenario with the licensed plumber. Both of these scenarios, we did put some contingency money in the budget to accommodate for these sorts of things because we knew that was going to be some that would come down the pipeline.
It doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, $8,000, I would have expected more. You're digging up a street.
Well, in this case, the Public Works team did do some of the initial excavation work, so that saved a lot of that up front. Because when the water main break call comes in, you have the water surfacing, we have to send at least a crew out to do the initial investigation, do the Julie locates, and then in most of these cases, we at least dug the hole, and then we had the other crew from the plumbing firm come in and do the actual underground repair work.
Well, it seems pretty reasonable how serious this is going to be. And I think that what you're saying is something we're going to really have to face up with, but I think we're looking into it.
Well, the
Long-range
timing of
plan.
these too, like we can't anticipate when they're gonna happen, and the one I know was at midnight, and
Right.
other contractors don't respond, so
Mhm,
it
correct.
gets, yeah, to be a pretty urgent situation. Okay, thank you.
All right, the next item is water treatment plant televising of well number 5 piping. So Public Works was recommending approving the professional agreement with H.R. Stewart and H.R. Green for amount not to exceed $18,489.50. So the ultimate goal of this is to get well number 5 on the reverse osmosis system. So what they're going to do is they're going to televise 100 feet of the piping to hopefully be able to reline it next year. It's so much, so there's 2 different ways they can televise it. There's the cheaper way that they're hoping that they can do for $5,800, but just in case, they might have to excavate it, and if it is, that's why it'll be the extra $18,489.50. So for this repiping, $50,000 has been budgeted. The next item is the Robinson Engineering proposals for professional engineering services. So Public Works is recommending to approve the Robinson Engineering agreement not to exceed $63,950. So what this is doing, it's 3 different parts. So the first part is continue to complete the televising and cleaning of the sewer lines in Springdale and Ridgewood, and to train staff of how to evaluate this data as it comes in. So we did the same thing last year, trained staff, but the staff unfortunately has left. So we just need to train more staff with this. The second thing is to assist with the mandatory reporting to the NWRD about sewer outflows and basement backups. And finally is to complete 10 point repairs of the sewer lines. We did some sewer line point repairs in the spring, and this is just leftover point repairs that need to be done. So again, this is $63,950, and $74,400 has been budgeted for this. The next item is Phase 3 engineering proposal professional services agreement for the lead service line replacement. So again, Public Works is recommending approving the professional service agreement with HR Green not to exceed $77,220. This is for Phase 3 engineering. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be supervising the work of the replacement of the 42 homes that will be done next year. And the next is the IEPA loan L17-3761, ordinance authorizing village to borrow funds for the replacement of 42 lead service lines. So last month, we voted to request $705,000. We're just looking to adjust that to $906,405.15, a more accurate number of what it's going to cost. And this will be 0% interest for 30 years. Any questions? And the last is, for that same loan, a resolution authorizing village president to execute the related documents. So we're recommending granting President Rudolph the ability to authorize the signing of the loan documents. And as far as 2025 budgets, we continue to look at the whole budget process for next year, and we'll have more information as it comes out.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. That was a lot. All right, moving on to Public Health and Safety Committee report. Trustee? Oh, I'm sorry. Skipped one, sorry. Properties and Rec Committee report. Trustee Avakian.
Thank you very much. First up for my report is we have had a relationship with Christopher Sparts for their basketball programs at the rec center, and we are going to suggest that we renew the contract with him. This will be on the omnibus for a vote. No real changes. The program has actually just been increasing. Numbers are good. He's got the little hoopers and the ballers and he's got all kinds of programs going on. It's very successful and everyone loves it. So we're going to recommend re-upping that contract. Any questions? The second issue is the Illinois Association of Park Districts will be hosting its annual business meeting on January 25th. And this is what we do annually to kind of re-up the IPRA, or at the IAPD conference. So what I'm going to also suggest that we update the credentials to certify Alex, our Director of Recreation, as a delegate to the annual business meeting for the Illinois Association of Park Districts. That will also be on the omnibus. Any questions there? And then we discussed some of our budgets. Everything seems to be pretty great and in line with what we've been expecting and how we've been plugging along. So nothing too exciting to be worried about, but we'll have more information as more comes out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, that concludes my
Okay.
report.
All right, and now we will actually go to the Public Health and Safety Committee report. Trustee Lewis.
Thank you, President Rudolph. First up, our committee is recommending the full board approve a third addendum to the original 2020 agreement with Paramedic Services of Illinois, PSI, to provide contract firefighters, paramedics to the village. As part of that agreement, Chief Scott is also recommending that PSI increase the annual starting compensation for new contract employees assigned to Western Springs from $65,000 to $75,000 per year, and increase the annual compensation for existing paramedics assigned to Western Springs also by $10,000 per year. The salary adjustment will increase the annual contract with PSI for the calendar year 2025 by 6.5% and by 2.5% for 26 and 27. The total contract for 2025 will be $820,000, $820,008. Chief Scott explained to our committee that both private paramedic service companies and public fire service agencies have had to deal with significant staffing challenges since the pandemic began. The enduring labor shortage has caused area paramedic service companies and fire departments to repeatedly increase compensation in hopes of attracting and retaining quality individuals. So we really need to increase our current compensation package to help us keep up with area communities. So we are recommending that the contract addendum be placed on the omnibus for action later this evening. Any questions on that?
That
Sounds
seems
like-
pretty reasonable. I mean, 10,000 per paramedic.
Right, and we had to bump it up by 10,000 a few years ago
Yeah.
due to the same issue, so keeping up with
Yeah.
the Joneses.
Yeah, but public safety
Oh, yeah.
obviously
Have to
continues
do
to
it.
You
be
have to do
I mean,
it.
just
paramount and something that our residents rightfully expect. So I think this makes a lot of sense to get us.
the majority of our calls are paramedic calls, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Also at our meeting, we continued discussions regarding the proposed 2025 budget for the police and fire departments. A new significant capital budget item for the Fire and Emergency Services Department in 2025 is to spend $400,000 for a new advanced life support ambulance. That planned expenditure also comes with some good news. $350,000 of that amount will be funded by a grant from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And our Illinois State Senator Susie Glowiak Hilton was instrumental in obtaining a grant for Western Springs. The new ambulance will replace a now 16-year-old reserve unit. Unfortunately, we won't see the new ambulance for quite some time. Chief Scott said it may take 3 years to receive the ambulance after it's ordered. The department is currently researching various manufacturers and plans to make a purchase recommendation the first quarter of 2025. The fire department is also recommending the 2025 budget include $105,961 for the purchase of 2 cardiac monitor defibrillators that will replace 2 of our 9-year-old units. We also reviewed the police department budget. As you may recall, all sworn officers will be required by state law to wear body-worn cameras effective January 1st, 2025. Additionally, our current in-car video cameras are outdated and need to be replaced. The recommended 2025 budget includes $39,450 for the body cameras and $27,600 for the in-car video cameras. And we are also hoping to receive a state grant to help with those expenses. The police department also wants to lease 3 new squad cars next year at a total cost of $36,000. They will replace 3 aging department vehicles, and it will cost an additional $45,000 to equip those 3 new vehicles with emergency lights, prisoner cages, and decals. So the total cost for the proposed budget is $81,000. And that concludes my report, unless there are some questions. Thank you very much.
We're very appreciative of Senator Glowiak
Mhm.
Hilton's efforts on our behalf. The general government report with the key card grant there with $150,000, and then the $350,000
Yeah,
for
that's
this. Really appreciate her help with getting us the access to those grants, and also to staff for helping with those too. So I know it takes a lot of work to prepare those, and so very good news overall
Yeah,
in our
it's
budget.
all-
All right, let's move on then to the omnibus vote. The Illinois state statutes allow a municipality to collectively vote on a group of ordinances, resolutions, and other motions such as awards of contract, appointments, etc. This is known as an omnibus vote. All the items contained on the omnibus vote list have been previously discussed by the President and Board of Trustees on at least one occasion, and often on several occasions. By placing them on the omnibus vote list, a single vote may be taken to approve them. A trustee may remove any item from the list and have it discussed and voted on separately prior to the omnibus vote. Is there any such request this evening? All right, hearing none. Trustee Terrell.
Thank you, President Rudolph. I'd move that the following ordinances, resolutions, and motions as contained on the meeting agenda for November 11th, 2024 be adopted and/or approved under an omnibus vote. Agenda letter A, approval of the October 14th, 2024 and October 28th, 2024 minutes as read. Agenda letter B, resolution number 24-2851, resolution authorizing and approving the execution of a third addendum to the 2020 agreement to provide paramedic personnel between the Village of Western Springs and Paramedic Services of Illinois Incorporated for calendar year 2025, with renewal options for years 2026 and 2027, and a year 2028 renewal option with a wage reopener provision. Agenda item letter C, resolution number 24-2852, Resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an independent contractor agreement between the Village of Western Springs and Sparts Sports LLC for the position of coordinator of the travel basketball program and other specific basketball programs for the Village of Western Springs Recreation Department. Initial term, January 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2025, with options to renew for one-year terms for July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026, July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027, July 1st, 2027 to June 30th, 2028, July 1st, 2028 to June 30th, 2029, and July 1st, 2029 to June 30th, 2030. Agenda item letter D, Resolution 24-2853, a resolution appointing and authorizing the village president as village representative to execute loan documents issued by Illinois Environment Agency State Revolving Funding, that's SRF, for the construction of new public water supplies facilities and the construction of certain improvements to existing public water facilities as part of the IEPA loan project L17-3761. Agenda item letter E, resolution number 24-2854, a resolution determining the estimated real property tax levy for year 2024 for the Village of Western Springs. Agenda item letter F, ordinance number 24-3221, ordinance authorizing the Village of Western Springs, Cook County to borrow funds from the Public Water Supply Loan Program of the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency for the completion of the replacement of 42 residential lead service lines within the Village of Western Springs, IEPA loan number L17-3761. Agenda item letter G, ordinance number 24-322, an ordinance authorizing the approval and execution of a plat of public sidewalk easement for 5904 Juniper Court, that's lot 95, in Unit 2 of the Timber Trail subdivision. Agenda item letter H, motion to approve the credential certificate designating Alex Bradis, Director of Recreation, as the delegate to the annual business meeting of the Illinois Association of Park Districts to be held on January 25th, 2025. Agenda item letter I, motion to approve the reappointment of Jeff Fuss to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a 3-year term to expire on November 11th, 2027. And agenda item letter J, motion to approve the reappointment of Renee Causey to the Economic Development Commission for a 3-year term to expire on November 11th, 2027.
Thank you. Is there just a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian?
Aye.
Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Trustee Fink?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Naraki?
Aye.
Trustee Tyrrell?
Aye.
And President Rudolph.
Aye.
The ordinances, resolutions, and motions contained in the agenda of November 11th, 2024 are hereby adopted or approved.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to reports. First, from me, just a few things, just continued reminder to support our local businesses as we work our way through all of the work in the business district right now. It looks like it's continuing to go well. I think that first block seems like it went quite smoothly, so thanks to everybody that's been involved in that, and also to our businesses for, I think, for their tenacity and I hope good spirits in helping to get through this. Next, just a few updates on some of the local COGS, councils of government, and other groups that we participate in and that I attend. On October 26th, Village Manager Bear and I both were at the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus Gala at Wrigley Field. At that one, Cook County President Prickwinkle spoke and addressed all of us. She was there briefly, and then also the Illinois State Treasurer Michael Frericks was there, and I was trying to get him to move to Western Springs, so we'll see how that goes. Upcoming this week, this Thursday, is the West Suburban Chamber of Commerce Legislative Breakfast Update, which I'll be attending. And then next week, here very locally, our WISBA Association is meeting for their annual luncheon, and it kind of is a look ahead into 2025, where I'll be talking about what we have to look forward to. So those are it's a very busy time of year with these kind of meetings and events. And that is all I have to report, so Village Manager Bear.
I just have a couple of items. The first is thank you to all of the trustees for sitting through all of the budget presentations that our staff put together over the last few weeks, really the last few months. And I just wanted to let you know that Director of Finance John Mastandona and I have been working with our budget team, which is comprised of several of our top staff, to go through all of the numbers. Obviously, you heard all of the proposed budgets, and we'll be refining and figuring out what fits in and what doesn't over the next week or two. And then we'll be back in December with the full budget to be heard by the board. So looking forward to that. I also wanted to mention that last week, the DuPage Mayors and Managers Association decided to renew the Western Springs Associate membership for another year. So we will be continuing to participate in the DMMC COG as well as our own West Central Municipal Conference. I also want to pass it over to Daisy Chavez for just a couple of quick updates.
Thank you. So last week, the village hosted the annual Pumpkin Smash in conjunction with the Green Team. It was hosted at St. John of the Cross parking lot, and it was another successful event. The collection had a total of 4.87 tons of pumpkins that were diverted from landfills. So I just wanted to give a special thanks to the Village Green Team, St. John of the Cross, and for all the volunteers that gave their time and everyone that participated. And then a friendly reminder, the holiday lights collection will begin on Friday, November 15th through January 31st. So any residents that has lights that they would like to recycle, they're available for drop-off in Village Hall, the Thomas Ford Library, and Shrub Valley.
Thank you, Daisy. And thank you, Daisy, for organizing those items on behalf of the village. Very nice. That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
I had a question, actually it was about the Burlington Avenue. I've had a few people corner me at the train station. They must know that I take the train, and they've asked about that, looks like a speed bump, newly constructed speed bump, and to what its purpose is and why it's there. And some of them have been a little disappointed, I suppose, that they have to drive slower, but.
That's why it's there, actually.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't know if there was something underneath it or what. But.
It has a dual purpose. It's a raised crosswalk. So the fact that it's raised brings it to drivers' attention. And it does have a traffic calming effect. I don't know if Director Koza wants to add anything to that.
No, I think you got it. We're also not 100% complete. There'll be some signs, some striping, so it'll be more apparent. But that is the gist of it, is a safer pedestrian crossing combined with traffic calming.
Well, thank you both. I'll be more educated tomorrow for the 717.
Just to prepare you, that's also the type of crosswalk we'll be putting in at the underpass close to Spring Rock Park.
Well, that's certainly
similar.
Yeah.
Is that just kind of the new way that raised crosswalks are
In
constructed?
very high pedestrian areas, it's a nice way to sort of elevate the pedestrians. As Jeff said, there will be striping that will bring it to the attention of traffic, because it's high traffic, and it's also a high pedestrian area. We felt that this was a good candidate for that same type of crosswalk.
Yeah, I think it goes directly to the stairs that go down to the platform.
It does. It's a connection there as well.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Yeah, good question.
All three of you.
Yeah. Any other questions? If not, we'll go to Attorney Jurusik.
No report tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, then, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I have a motion to adjourn tonight's combined workshop and special meeting of the President and Board of Trustees.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. We are adjourned at 7:39 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.